So everyone, so we have started the video. Jai Shri Krishna. Uh, so web history API. So in the previous classes, we have gone through web APIs and intro and the API. So now we move on to the next topic. So that is web history API. So what is the history of web? The web history API is support in all browsers. Okay. The history back method. The back method loads the previous URL in the windows.history list, where it loads windows.history. Okay, so if you see the example, button on click, go back. Function my function windows.history.back, go back. Okay, go back 2 pages. Okay, go -2. History of the property is let return the number of URLs in the history list. Back loads the previous URL in the history list. Forward loads the next URL in the history list. Go loads the specific URL from the history list. Okay. So this is the go method. I hope it's clear now. Okay. This is the length returns the number of URLs in the history list. Back loads the previous URL in the history list. Forward loads the next URL in the history list. Go loads the specific URL from the history list. Okay. So next is web storage API. So what is a web storage API? A web storage API is a simple syntax for strong and retrieving data in a browser. It is very easy to use. Example, local storage dot set item and giving it everything a name like name, John Doe name. Okay. So if you give a local storage object, you can say it. The local storage object provides the access to local storage for a particular website. It allows you to store, read, add, modify, and delete data items for the domain. The data is stored with no experimentation expiration date and will not be deleted when the browser is closed. The data will be available for days, weeks, and years. Okay, this is the work of the local storage object. The data will be available for days, weeks, and years. With a set item method, the local storage set item method stores the data item in the storage. It takes the name and the value as parameters. Okay. So if I take an example, local storage dot set item, it's going to name John Doe. Okay. The get item method. The local storage dot get item method retrieves the data item from the storage. It takes a name as parameter. Local storage dot get item name. It gets the method, it gets the name of the as a parameter. So session storage object. The session storage object is identical to local object. The difference is that the session storage object stores the data for one session and the data is deleted when the browser is closed. Session storage.get item name. Okay. I hope it's clear now. The system method next topic is the session storage set item stores the data item in the storage. It takes a name and a value as parameter. Example, session storage set item name John Doe. So it is a name and this is a value. Okay, this is a parameter. Say parameter and this is a value. Okay. Next is the get item method. The session of storage of get item method retrieves the data item from the storage. It takes name as parameter. Session of storage of get item name. Okay. Storage object properties and methods. First is key in, returns the name of the end key in the storage. Length returns the number of data items stored in the storage object. Get item key name returns the value of the specified key name. Set item key name value adds a key to the storage or updates a key value if it already exists. Remove item key name remove that key from the storage. Okay. Clear empty all key out of the storage. Okay. Related pages for web storage API. Windows or local storage allows you to save key value pairs in a web browser. Stores the data with no expiration date. Okay. Windows the session.storage allows to save key value pairs in a web browser. Stores the data for one session. Okay. The window or local storage allow to save key value pairs in a web browser. Stores the data with no expiration date and allows to save Windows the session storage allows to save key value pairs in a web browser, stores the data for one session. Okay, now it's clear. Next is worker API. A worker API, a web worker is a JavaScript running in the background without affecting its performance of the page. What is a web worker? Okay, so what is a web worker? Web worker is a JavaScript running in the background without affecting the performance of the page. So what is a web worker? When executing scripts in the HTML page, the page becomes unresponsive until the script is finished. A web worker is a JavaScript that runs in the background independently of other scripts without affecting the parent performance of the page. You can continue to do whatever you want, clicking, selecting things, etc., while the web worker runs in the background. Okay, there's a start worker, there's a stop worker. So web workers example. An example creates a simple web worker that counts number in the background. Just counts the number. I just stop worker, it just stops. Okay. Next is the check web worker support. Before creating a web worker, check whether the user's browser supports it. If type of worker not equal to undefined, yes, web worker support, same code, some code, and else, sorry, no web worker support. Okay, so this is the format of writing the code. First, this is if type of worker not equal to undefined, and then else. Okay, no web worker support. Okay, type of worker not equal to undefined. Yes, you use web worker support. Okay. Next is create a web worker file. Now let's create our web worker in an external JavaScript. Here we create a script that counts. The script is code in demo/worker.js. Okay, so we're creating a file and we're storing the data. So let I is equal to 0 function time count I plus plus post message I set timeout time count 500 and time count is function we're calling. So the important message, so important part of the code above is a post message method. Post message I, which is used to use sorry, which is used to post a message back to the HTML page. Normally, web workers are not used for such simple scripts, but for the CPU intensive task. create a web worker object. Now we want to create a web worker object. How we can create that? Now that we have the web worker file, we need to call it from an HTML page. The following line checks if the web worker exists. If not, it creates a new web worker object and runs the code in demo worker.js. If type of undefined, W is equal to new worker demo worker.js, then we can send and receive message from the web worker. Add an on message event listener to the web worker. W.onMessage will function event document the get element by ID result dot inner HTML is equal to event the data. Okay, so how to create a web worker object? So this is I believe a web worker object. Web worker object. Okay, so now we want type of type of W. If it's is equal to undefined, then W is equal to new worker, and we are calling the demo worker the JS. Okay, new worker and demo slash worker dot JS. Okay, clear? I hope at that part it is clear. You can just comment it on and any problem you are facing. Okay. Next is w.onMessage is equal to function event document.get element by ID result is equal to dot inner HTML is equal to event get data event.data. So what does it mean? It means when the web worker posts a message, the code within the event listener is executed. The data from the web worker is stored in event.data. The data are stored in the event.data. Okay. The datas, if I say the datas stored in the event dot data. Okay. So now we have created a web worker. Now we have terminated a web worker. So how to terminate a web worker? When a web worker object is created, it will continue to listen for messages even after the external script is finished until it is terminated. So what does it mean? When a web worker object is as it created, it will continue to listen for messages. So it will just continue to listen all the messages even after the external script is finished until it is terminated. To terminate a web worker and free browser computer users use the terminate method. So we just use the w.terminate. Automatically it will terminate after the execution of the external script. So it will not get terminated. But if you want to get it manually, you can use w.terminate. Okay. Reuse the web worker. How can you reuse the web worker? If you set the worker variable to undefined after it has been terminated, you can reuse the code. W is equal to undefined. Okay. So if you see the worker variable is undefined, worker variable undefined. After it has been terminated, you can reuse the code. W is equal to undefined. Just you need to write this. W is equal to undefined. Okay, now it's clear. W is equal to undefined. Okay. Next is full wave worker example code. So we are using the start worker, stop worker, everything we have just learned. We are using it in a code. So you can say doctype.html, doctype.html. You're using count numbers, output ID, start worker, stop worker. And we are using let w and function start worker if type of w is going to undefined, w is going to new worker, the demo worker.js, and w dot on message function event that document that get element by id result dot in HTML is going to event the data. So we are storing the data in the event the data file. Next, we are using function the stop worker. We terminate the web worker, and we are using, if it's not terminated, we are using the class w dot undefined, and this is the code. Okay, so if you try it yourself, I get start counter, stop counter, by use inspect element here. See in the console, console is not getting lit. Not this one. Let's say this is the console. Okay, it is not showing. You can do the stop worker here. Okay, then in run, then stop. Okay, so this is how it works. Web workers and a DOM. Since web workers are in external files, they do not have access to following JavaScript objects: the window object, the document object, the parent object. Okay, since web workers are in external files, because it is an external file, they do not have the access of the following JavaScript like Windows object, the window object. You guys know the JavaScript window object, the document object. Only, okay, document object and parent object. Parent. Okay, so this is how it works. Next is web fetch API. The fetch API interface allows web browser to make HTTP requests to web servers. No need for XML HTTP request anymore. Okay. So what is this? The example below fetches a file and displays the count. This is fetch file. There is in dot .den, x equal to x test, and dot .den is equal to my display. So what is this? Try it yourself. You can say it's fetch API. The Fetch API interface. The Fetch API interface allows web worker, sorry, the Fetch API interface allows web browser to make HTTP requests to web servers. If you use the XML HTTP request object, Fetch can do the same in a simpler way. Okay, the Fetch API interface allows web browser to make a HTTP request. In other cases, we are using XML based HTTP request, but in Fetch API, we don't use that. If you use XML HTTP request object, Fetch can do the same in a simpler way. Okay, so see the example. The let file is equal to fetch file info.txt, fetch file dot then xtest dot then y document element then get element by id demo dot html y. Okay, but fetch is based on async and await. The example I want might be easier to understand like this: async function get text file, let x is equal to await fetch file, let y is equal to await x dot text and my display. Okay, so if I run it, then say the same thing. We are just getting the fetch input of text, and this is the text we're getting. Okay, next is, or even better, use understandable names instead of x and y. You can say async function get text file, let my object await fetch file, and let my text await my object dot text, my display my text. Okay, this is a better version. The fetch API interface allows web browser to make HTTP requests to web servers. So we're getting so we're getting the code. You can say the code looks like this: async function here, let my object await function here, and I say let my text. Okay, sorry. My object await await my object a text. Okay, so this is the whole thing. And then you can say document.get element by id, document get element id demo dot in html is equal to my text. Okay. So this is the code. Then run it, and in the Fetch API interface allow web browser to make HTTP request to web service. If you use the XML HTTP object, Fetch can do the same in a simpler way. This is a fetch data you are fetching. Okay. Next is web geolocation API. So why we use the geolocation API? To get the actual location of the user. Okay. In a You all know what is geolocation. It is geographical location of a people. If you can say this is map kind of thing, it's a geolocation API. Okay. So the HTML geolocation API used to get the geographical position of a user. Since this can compromise privacy, the position is not available unless the user approves it. So you can see when I use a try it function, try it and say it getting my location. Okay. Okay. So you can see this is the location of me. Here I am. Okay. Next is a browser support. So how to use the geolocation API? Okay, and also geolocation most equipment device like GPS like smartphones. In smartphones, it is all more accurate. All browsers supports it. No, the geolocation will only work on secure context such as HTTPS. If your site is hosted on a non-secure origin such as HTTP, the request to get the user location no longer function. HTTP is a more functional and more better in form of security. It's getting extra security in HTTPS rather than HTTP. Okay. So using the geolocation API, the get current position method is used to return the user position. The example below returns the latitude and longitude of the user position. We have done the latitude and longitude in previous classes. Then say const x is going to document by ID demo. Function get location if navigated the geolocation. The navigator, the geolocation get current position will show position as except in an HTML. Geolocation is not supported by this browser. Function show position is the inner HTML is equal to latitude is equal to position plus coords dot latitude. Position dot coords dot latitude and longitude position dot coords dot longitude. Okay. So if you run it, you'll get the latitude. And so if you run it, you get the latitude and longitude of the position. So you can see the latitude is 22.74 and longitude is 84.51. 88.51, 88.51. Okay. Example explained. You can say check if geolocation is supported. If supported, run the current position method. If not, display the message to the user. You can say the checking position is allowed or not with if and else statement. If get correct position method is successful, it returns a coordinate object to the function specified in a parameter show position. The show position function outputs a latitude and longitude. It gives a latitude and a longitude. Okay. The example is a very basic geolocation script who know with no error handling. Okay. There's no error handling here. Okay. Handling error and rejections. Next, we are handling the error and rejection. Okay. So as you're talking, so handling error rejection. The second parameter of the get conversion method to use the handle errors, it specifies a function to run if it fails to get the user's location. Okay, so function show error, switch error dot code. This we are using the switch case like show error dot permission denied, position unavailable. So error we are defining all the problems in a switch case. Okay, so the actual thing is you can say here error dot code permission denied user denied a request for geolocation break position unavailable location information unavailable timeout a request to get user location timed out unknown deny and unknown error occurred. Okay, these are the showing is called error handling. Okay, they are handling the errors and the rejections. Okay, so displaying the result on a map. So now we want to display the result on a map. So display the result, you need to access to maps app like Google Maps. In the example, the detailed latitude along is used to show the location in Google Map. It's a static image. We're using a static image. Okay. So position late latitude longitude position dot cost per latitude plus comma position dot cost per longitude. So let image URL we are using this image URL plus lat dot is the function address zoom this function and document dot get element any map folder in HTML image source plus image URL this. So this will return the actual code. Okay. So location specific information. This page is demonstrated how to start show users position on a map. Okay. That just design. Just demonstrating the how to show a user position on a map. Geolocation is also very useful to look for location specific information like up to date local information, showing points of interest near the user, turn by turn navigation. That's on GPS we are calling. So what they are using? So this is the actual image, and this is the latitude and longitude. They are showing this. Okay, and say geolocation is also very useful. Local specific information like up to date local information. This is up to date local information. Next is showing points of interest near the user, showing points interest near the user. You can say there's a hotels and there's a restaurant, all those things, and these are shown near the user. Okay, next is turn by turn navigation, that is GPS. We are showing the GPS. Okay, so these are the things. Next is the get current position method return data. So the get current position method returns the object on success. The latitude, longitude, and accuracy properties are always returned. The order properties are returned if available. Causal latitude, the latitude of a decimal number. Causal longitude, longitude of a decimal number. Always returned. Chord accuracy, the accuracy of the position. Causal altitude, the altitude is in meters above the mean of sea level, mean sea level. Returned if available. Chords altitude accuracy, the altitude accuracy of a position returns if available. Chords heading, the heading are as degrees the heading as degree clockwise from north return if available. Cause the speed in meters per second return if available. Timestamp the date time of the response. Returning if this the value is available. Okay. Next, geolocation object other interesting methods. Geolocation object other interesting methods. The geolocation object also has other interesting methods. Watch position. Returns the current position of the user, continues to return the updated position as the user moves, like the GPS in a car. Okay. Clear watch. Stop the watch position method. Okay. The example below showed a watch position method. You need to activate GPS device to test like smartphone. Okay. You can say. So what they are giving, if you see this, the geolocation object also has some interesting methods. Firstly, watch position. Returns the current position of the user and continues to return updated position as the user moves. Like the GPS in the car. We're using the GPS in the car. It gets updated when the car is running. Okay. A clear watch. Stop the watch position method. Okay. The example below shows watch position method. You need an accurate GPS device to test it, like smartphone. You need a smartphone to test it. Okay. If you are using a smartphone while doing it, you can running in the code, you can get that. You can use your phone and go to this website and try it yourself to get more information. You can say this is the click button to get your coordinates. It will change for running. Okay. That is the you can say const SQL document get element by ID function get location if navigator dot geolocation navigator dot geolocation dot watch position show position exotic HTML geolocation is not sorted by the browser. So the actual thing is function the show position x dot inner HTML latitude plus position cost dot latitude and longitude plus position constant longitude. Okay, this is the actual coordinates. Okay, so this is up to the lecture. We have completed the web geolocation API, the web APIs. Uh, I hope it's clear to you guys. If it's not, you can say. Okay, thank you. This is up to this class. We'll be doing the next class soon. In the next class, this is Saturday. We'll do that. Okay, maybe I'll provide videos or